Now, it's time now to speak to the government. I'm joined this morning by the Science and Technology Minister, Ian Murray. Ian Murray, a very good morning to you. And I want to start off by talking about the launch of these digital veteran cards that you're announcing today. And give us a sense, first of all, of what they are and why they're necessary. I mean, how are they actually going to improve the lives of veterans?
Well, we launched this with veterans, Beefeater veterans at the Tower of London yesterday. And what this is about is digitising their veterans card. This card gives them access to public services, access to charitable organisations and access to discounts as being veterans. And it's about putting that physical card onto their phone. Some had it, some downloaded it while we were there. Some will continue to use their physical card. But there's 1.8 million veterans in this country. 300,000 of those veterans already have a card. So I hope that more people will sign up now. It's a very simple process to do through the government's One Login scheme, and that gives them their digital card on their telephone.
Is this basically a pilot for the rollout of mandatory digital ID for all of us? Are veterans essentially guinea pigs for that rollout?
Well, there's 12 million people already using the government's One Login, and that system's about making sure that you don't have to remember passwords for every single government department, but it gives you one single login to government. The Veterans Pass is part of that. And of course, this was all developed before the digital ID proposals and policy came in, but the infrastructure is being developed, and that is the same process, but it's also about just having that access. If you think about the benefits for veterans having this digital card, that would be the same benefits that people have for digital ID. It would give them easier access to public services and easier access to prove who they are and what they're entitled to.
You've got a bit of a hard sell, haven't you, to convince the public about this idea of a nationwide digital card, because public support has slumped since you made the announcement. Before the announcement, there was a fair amount of support. Net public support was at 35%. It's now dropped to minus 14. There's a bit of a reverse Midas touch going on here.
Well, I think that's partly to do with the fact that there's a lot of myths to be busted in terms of what this will actually do. It won't be compulsory to have it, although it'll be mandatory for right-to-work checks. It'll come in by the end of this Parliament. It'll be on your telephone. There's safety and security issues and privacy issues which we have to make the case for and show that the system will be secure. There's a large consultation coming out at the end of this year, which the public can very much get involved in. We would encourage that. There's a whole host of use cases for digital ID that we need to make the case for. So it's a very positive, I think, announcement from government in terms of digitising government to make that relationship between citizen and government smoother and easier, to make sure people can not only access public services easier, but they can get what they're entitled to.
I want to ask you about an issue that's prompting a lot of discussion this morning, and the fact that fans of the Israeli football side, Maccabi Tel Aviv, are being banned from visiting Birmingham for their match against Aston Villa next month amid safety fears. The Prime Minister has called this wrong, but given that he made a promise that he would do everything in his power to protect Jewish people in this country, what is he going to do about it?
Well, I think everyone has pretty much condemned this decision by the West Midlands Safety Advisory Group. It is the wrong decision. The Prime Minister and the government have been clear about that. In fact, pretty much every politician has been clear about that, including civil society. And we're honestly saying as a country that we are banning people or stopping people from attending public events like football matches or concerts because of their race or religion. It's just completely and utterly unacceptable. And the Prime Minister has said we will do everything we possibly can to resolve this issue. It's an operational issue for the police, and government doesn't get involved in operational issues for the police. But I know the Culture Secretary of State will be meeting with the Home Office and other stakeholders today to try and see if there's a way through this. But we can't allow this to happen. We can't allow our country to become a place where we're excluding people from public events.
Well, yes, and the police said they've classified the match as high risk based on current intelligence, but also previous incidents. Are you saying that you don't have faith in the police to assess the risks?
Well, we have absolutely faith in the police and we have absolute faith in the Chief Constable, but we think this is the wrong decision. The police have been policing football matches for a very long time, some in very, very difficult circumstances, and it's their job to make sure that people who are going to public events are kept safe. But are we honestly saying as a country that if we can't keep you safe, then we're going to ban you from being able to attend? That is the wrong decision. It's the wrong signal to send out. And the Prime Minister was very clear that we'll stamp out anti-Semitism and any form of racism in this country because it's not who we are as a country, and we need to be very clear about that.
Some have suggested that the match could be played behind closed doors, fans from neither side attending. Is that a possible solution?
It's just not a solution at all, and would allow this issue to continue to fester in terms of what are we saying to even Aston Villa fans? Are we saying in terms of this match they are not allowed to attend because we cannot guarantee the safety of the away support and we're going to exclude them from it? This is just completely and utterly unacceptable. It's the wrong decision, sends out the wrong signal, and it's not who we are. And I think the vast majority of the population will see this today, will think it's a very, very bad move, and will feel as if something should be done about it. And the Prime Minister's been clear it is the wrong decision, and we'll do everything we possibly can to see if we can get this resolved.
Independent MPs Ayub Khan and Jeremy Corbyn campaigned against these fans coming. They say in protest over what was happening in Gaza. What do you make of that stance?
Well, it's up to sporting bodies to decide the nations and clubs that play in their international competitions. If I could use an example, Scotland played Belarus in the World Cup qualifiers in Glasgow just last week, and the Home Office facilitated their visas to make sure the game could go ahead, because it's up to the sporting bodies to decide. Obviously, the government has a view on that, but it's not for us to interfere on that. This game, Israeli teams are entitled to play in the UEFA and FIFA competitions. And this is part of one of the UEFA competitions. They've been drawn against Aston Villa in Birmingham, and they should be able to play that game with the fans in attendance. And we shouldn't be saying to the public, to fans of this country or any other country, you're not entitled to come here to a sporting event, to a concert, to a festival, because we can't guarantee your safety on religious grounds. And that just doesn't seem to me to be what we are as a country, and it's something we have to stamp out.
The government has postponed a decision on whether to grant China permission for a new London super embassy. Why another delay?
Well, this is a quasi-judicial planning process, so it's not for government to comment on that. We do obviously give views through the appropriate channels to any planning application in that sense, and it has been delayed, but it's not something we can comment on because it is a quasi-judicial process done through the planning system.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reason this is getting lots of attention is in the wake of the collapse of the China spy case, which, of course, has had a great deal of attention in recent days. And to many people watching, they might think that the government is in hock to China. It's emerged that some emphasis has been put on the fact that the UK wants a positive trading relation with China. And now contemplating this mega embassy in London as well. Are you worried about the kind of message that we're sending out to other hostile states with these issues?
Well, I think it's pretty clear. The Chancellor went to Beijing at the tail end of last year, and we have a very positive relationship where we want to have a positive relationship with China, but we know there are threats there. The head of MI5 laid that out yesterday in terms of those threats, and I'm not quite sure anybody would have been surprised at what he said in terms of the constant threats we have from hostile states, including China. But at the same time, we have to work with our countries across the world in order to do what is in our economic and national interest to do so. We will be friends when we have to be. We'll work with them when we have to be. We'll be very critical in terms of what they are doing in their own country, and indeed the threats that they have in this country. Nothing has changed in that position, and here that nothing has changed in terms of a relationship between the United Kingdom and China, and we will make sure we're addressing those concerns and those threats at every level.
Well, Ian Murray, we are out of time. We'll have to let you go, but we appreciate you talking to us this morning. Thanks very much indeed.